My name is Anthony Broderick. I'm here at Clive Keeble in Derby on the 31st of May 2011. Hi Clive. So Clive, where did you go to school?
Well, firstly, just let me say thank you for wanting to talk to me about it.
Sorry.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, I went to school in Stafford a long time ago, between 1966 and 1973,
Yeah.
King Edward VI. And
Yeah.
I did what were called O-levels then, and then A-levels. The A-levels I did were in geography, geology, English and general studies.
Okay, did you enjoy school when you were there?
Yeah, I did enjoy school. Actually, I think I grew up a bit after I was 16.
Yeah.
Sort of realised that you didn't just, do what you wanted. And I did quite well in my A-levels because of that.
Yeah.
It's good though.
Sorry,
You get a lot out of school though by not just doing the classroom bits of it. It's good to do other things, to join societies, do outside activities.
Extracurricular stuff.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So when you left school, what jobs have you done since then?
Well, after I left school, I didn't go straight into work because I went to university. And to do what I'm doing is quite complicated. It took then at least 4 years, or it could take 5 years. Now I went down a 5-year route, and first of all I went off to Swansea in Wales, and I did a degree in geography, which took 3 years. Now I thought I wanted to go into planning at that time, but I wasn't sure, so I thought rather than doing a specific degree that was going to categorise me, I'd do something a little more general that gave me options. Well, I enjoyed my time at university, I enjoyed my geography degree, and that's really how I ended up then in Nottingham, because I got a postgraduate place on a town planning course at Nottingham University.
Yeah.
And by then it was 1977 through to 1979.
Okay.
I did have a year off between university and postgraduate stuff. That was
year.
good. Yeah, they were called gap years then, but I was fortunate enough to go to Australia and things. Did some building work and fruit picking and various things like that, which is
fun times.
Yeah.
So what does your job do now? What's entail?
Well, I've worked for over 30 years,
Yeah.
and when I started work, it was in 1979, it was a bit like now, in that the economy was going through change, and it was quite difficult to get jobs in the sector I'd chosen to go into, and I ended up by accident in Derby, Derby City Council, and I worked in the planning department there for about 8 years, and I did quite a lot of stuff there. First of all, I was doing work in Normanton and Peartree on housing improvements.
Yep.
Then I did a lot of work on the city centre local plan. You can see how long things take to come to fruition, because I did do some work on the completion of the ring road then. I did do some work on the new bus station then. 25 years later these things happen. And strangely enough, I then did some work where we can see out of the window here, Chaddesden and Cowsley Estate.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
So I left there to widen my experience, and I went to work in Leicester, again as a planner, and that was quite good. I got involved in Foss Park, Junction 21, shopping and retail and leisure development. That was quite a long commute though, and I managed to get a slightly better job then in Beeston near Nottingham. Yeah. So I worked there for about 8 years. And first of all I did what's called local planning, and then I looked after what's called developments. So that was the council's house building, its industrial estates, its economic development work and that sort of thing. And then I stopped doing that in 1999, and I went to work for an organisation called the National Forest Company as their Chief Development Officer to basically create a new national forest. That's in parts of Leicestershire, Derbyshire and Staffordshire. But very recently I've taken early retirement, and I'm now working for myself as a consultant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you've had a long employment history.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to be a town planner?
I think initially I was quite good at geography. I could understand places.
Yeah.
And I guess, not being very good at chemistry or maths or whatever, I didn't want to go down there. And then I thought, well, there's more to this than just learning about places. And I got really interested in how you get 3 factors interacting: people, economy and environment. And that's really what planning is about. Okay. When you learn about planning, it sounds quite exciting. It sounds like you're going to have quite a lot of influence.
Yeah.
When you actually work in it, it's a bit different than that, and you can end up, spending all your life just dealing with people applying for planning permission to build a small extension or something, you can get swamped by process. But I've been quite lucky because those areas I've gone into have always had this this thing about where people live, how they use it, how you can improve the economy, how you can try and improve people's quality of life. So it's that sort of variety.
Okay. Yeah. So if
I'll just add something on that as well, because the other thing that you need to do as a planner is to understand the environment that you're working in.
Yeah.
It isn't just a technical process; it's quite political.
Yeah.
So you need to understand how local and national politics work. You need to be able to react with politicians and decision makers.
Yeah.
It's all about seeing complex networks.
Okay. So if a secondary school student approached you and asked you some advice about getting into the town planners line of work, what would you say to them?
Well, I say it's still worthwhile, and I think you're always going to want that sort of work because, if you think about how many people live in Great Britain, in particular how many people live in England, it's quite a crowded place. It's quite important about how we use our resources, so there'll be some sort of planning. I think you need a good grounding in it. I think it's good to have something like geography behind it. Yeah. It's good also though to have something like economics, so you understand how money works and how development works. It can be quite good to have something like politics, psychology or sociology behind it. So if I was saying to somebody the A-levels you should choose if you want to be a town planner, I think I'd probably say geography, politics, sociology, maybe psychology, possibly economics.
Oh, a lot of subjects then.
You don't have to do all of those,
okay.
But it's so you see that there's more to it than it just being a scientific process or a technical process.
So, say you could start your education again, start secondary school again. What would you change? What subjects would you take?
It's a bit like starting life again, isn't it? It'd be nice to think you could be more self-confident, certainly wrong.
Yeah.
But that's all about growing up, and it's quite difficult when you're 11 to 16 to know what you're good at or what you're interested in.
Yeah.
I think if you realise that and just be relaxed about what interests you, that's a good thing to be doing as you're coming up to 16, 17 and making choices. Like I said at the beginning of the interview, though, I think you want to be at school and you want to be at university later for a broader education. It's important you do well in your subjects, but it's important you get involved in other things as well. And if the school you go to gets involved in the community or gets involved with business, do those sort of things. If you like sport and you're good at it, do that. But try and find things that go alongside your education as well.
Okay. Well, Clive, thank you very much for the interview. It was very interesting, and I'll be looking into that line of work. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Anthony. It's a pleasure, and I look forward to you being on Panorama or something in 10 years.
Thank you.